Good morning, people. Good morning. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Today is Saturday. It's Saturday morning, April 22, 2023, and the time is now about 6:48 a.m. As you can see in my window, it is extremely foggy outside, and it's supposed to rain today. Yeah, I would been outside walking the dogs, but I just felt um, more introspective, and I said, maybe let me go out later on today. Sometimes on Saturday, sometimes Saturday, I like to get up a little later on and uh, go in a different area with my dogs to walk. It's just how I am sometimes, but I'd like to give a condolence out there. First, I'm just learning just a couple of minutes ago. Um, it's something on YouTube. There are relationships on through social media, such as YouTube, and our families, so to speak, are becoming an extended family. You may meet people on social media when you do videos, and you learn of people uh, who may write in your comment section, and you hook up. You might do a phone chat um, through Messenger. And that's what happened with this one person. I will not give the person's name. Um, but she's someone who I think it's about a year now that we've been communicating. About a year. And she shares with me, um, videos about things that she might think I might want to see. And I missed her call. Yeah, we communicate mostly through Messenger. And at the time that she called me during Messenger, my device was turned off. And I did do a video in the afternoon. Oh God, I feel so awful. I missed her message, her text message on Messenger. So I'm sorry that I missed that message. But my friend, um, my friend's mother had just passed, and I feel awful that I missed that contact. Um, yeah, so um, just want to share my condolences to you, friend. My deepest condolences. Um, wow. Yeah, I think I'm sharing this. I want to be very discreet. Um, yeah, this is YouTube and social media is a relatively new outlet for me to communicate with people who live um, far away, but with technologies and stuff brings the world closer. And so you may have never physically met somebody, but you have technology and you're able to contact one another through, your videos, through a chat room, or they might respond to a video in we call the comment section, and some through what they call Messenger through I think it's a Facebook app. Yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. Good morning. Um, yes, so my condolences. And if that's my friend coming on my live stream right now, yeah, my deepest condolences. And yes, I tried to uh, call you twice this morning after getting the message. Yeah, my device was off. It's in the other room. Oh wow. Yeah, my deepest condolences. I definitely, definitely we'll talk over the phone. Yes. Yeah, the world is a smaller place now, and people who you may have never have seen in person, and it. Who would imagine years ago? I started YouTube um, 20, actively putting up content in 2014. And I didn't understand how a lot of this stuff worked. I got my first, what do you call it, smart device, my smartphone in it was actually 2012, but yeah, 2012 and then 2015. And yeah, even at 2015, I didn't really know how to work the we call text messaging, you know. And then as my channel, I started doing my channel more and more, and putting up more content. Um, People started reaching out and made the world an even smaller place. And so people who you may have never physically met can become a friend, an acquaintance, and you might shoot ideas to one another. And so, how important now, uh, post C-19 and all the melee that's going out in the world, um, we're becoming an extended family. And they'll reach out and tell you, hey, this happened. And so, as a community out there, to keep people in your heart and your prayers. And yeah, it was just a couple of days ago we did speak on a particular matter and shared what I shared with her. Sometimes we may not know what to say to one another, but your your heart directed towards them to pray for one another, or try, what you can do. So that's why I'm also sharing this video to give that condolences. It's a smaller world these days, and it's hard to sometimes it's hard for people to get out. Uh, Mobility issues. The it's danger in some communities. It's dangerous to go outside. Yeah, I limit my time outside because it's so violent where I live in New York City. Yes, I live in New York City. It's very trying. Uh, and so having social media, having a computer, and to be able to contact someone who lives on the other side of the world and share with them, hey, something just happened. Yeah, we're an extended family, global family through the internet. Who would imagine years ago this would be a reality? So again, my condolences to uh, my friend on the internet. Yes, my condolences on your loss. But may you find comfort in your hour of need. Yeah. So with that said, yeah, I did a video yesterday actually, and yes, my my iPad that I was on was not fully charged. Sorry. And so we did get cut off, but I was just about to cut it short anyway at the time. Yeah, I was thinking again about this individual. I found this in video. Yeah, I had done a like a search on YouTube for what they call what do you call it? A channeler. You know, put like a spiritualist, a channeler, and but in particular a black, African American slash black challenger, and I found this video, and it was a man, a black man, and we're about the same age. He might be like 1 year older than me. I'm not sure if he's from New York, but he did go to school, college here in New York City. And even though I spoke of him in yesterday's interview, video that I saw, I, um, I started thinking about this individual this morning, and that's why I initially turned on my computer, and that's when I saw the message from my YouTube friend. But I have a question about like now this individual who does um, a oh God, I called the word challenger. I didn't mean to say challenger, but uh, what do you call it? Someone who does who communicates with spirits. Oh God, I forget the word, the pronunciation. How could I have done that? But either way, yes. Good morning, viewers. Good morning to you. Yeah, but this individual, he communicates with spirits. And I was thinking about my situation. if that was, if this person has insight or intel on my situation. And so that's why I did the search on YouTube for um, this type of person who could communicate. And again, I found the individual, and I listened to. He gave his life story. What happened to him? He gave his story, and I really started to think about what really happened to him. I believe the guy's testimony. Oh yeah, yeah. His name is Blackman. Um, oh, I forget his first name. Yeah, but I gave it in yesterday's video, his full name. Um, but I thought his story was really interesting and was very, very, um, really, you have to really listen to what's being said. Like when you listen to stories, like you can listen to things on different levels of communication. Uh, that like this the spirit world and this and that. But then I started thinking about, hey, is what this man is experiencing. This man, when he was 16 years old, that's the number 1 6. When he was 16 years old, he was very intelligent, and he got skipped twice. And at the age of 16, he was able to graduate from school and enter into college. And he said he went to Columbia University. That is an Ivy League school in New York City. And I had a friend that went to that same school. And I started thinking about, I'm going to tie that in to something about me and that university. Um, what allegedly could have happened to me. I have to say that, allegedly. Okay. But this man went to that school um, in 1977. Again, he's a black man, black American man. And, okay, he's a genius, he's very intelligent. And I don't know what he wanted to major in, um, but it was all paid, full scholarship, he said. So he's a bright guy, a bright black fellow. And back in those days, they were trying to recruit more, like my friend from high school, of a woman, applied to that school. They were trying to recruit women into the engineering program. That's what my friend told me in high school. She says, "Oh, yeah, I remember she was uh, writing on legal pad. She was writing her essay to later submit to her application for enrollment in Columbia University. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a branch of Columbia. Women weren't allowed, according to her, women weren't allowed in, okay, because they had like a sub school within Columbia University. I think it was Barnard College is for women. If let me know, the guys and gals, if you're familiar with that school, if what I'm saying is accurate, those of you who've gone to the school, but I think she said Barnard College. It's a part of Columbia University, and and they didn't have a lot of women in certain programs in the school. It was overwhelmingly male, and my friend told me, who did get in, that they were really trying to recruit more, to bring in more women into programs like engineering, but it's overwhelmingly male enrollees. Okay, so here this fellow, Mr. Blackman, that's his last name, but he so happened to be a black fellow. Okay, he gets a full scholarship in the school, and an incident happened to him. He never had these experiences before until he was 16 years old and in this school program. And yes, in these schools, Ivy League schools, you have to, even if you live in New York City, you have to live on campus. That was another weird thing about my friend. She couldn't commute. She had to live in the dorms. So he had an experience. He heard a voice, and I think he said, he saw these orbs. I think he said purple. I think he said purple orb in the interview. He was being interviewed by a YouTube channel that's about that's what channeling. That's what channeling, to channel a spirit in you. That's what he does, and other things too. Channeler. I said challenging. I meant to say channeler. Okay. So, yeah, I think he saw these orbs. I think he said one of them was purple. And interested in the color purple, there's a YouTuber, a researcher who is studying things, research, I should say, researching things about the New World Order and the color purple. And yes, purple is being a prominent color here in New York City too. We have these bikes in New York City. Sorry, my foot. We have these bikes in New York City that you could rent. They're all over in the thousands. It's sponsored by Citibank, and you can rent them out. And the light on it is purple, like the headlight is purple or like lavender. And this, allegedly to this, according to uh, this researcher on YouTube, is part of the like you heard of the song Purple Rain by Prince. But the rain that Purple Prince, according to this researcher, is not the RAIN, like the rain in the sky, but rain meaning rulership. And the colors of this um, power at large is the color purple um, and the color blue, what they call Tiffany blue. Isn't that something? It's just a correlation. I just, when he said about a purple orb, very interesting. And this other researcher who researches about aliens and things like that, he also mentioned that he had a visitation from an alien, and it was something was purple in that experience, and it's believed that this whether this purple alien or something a purple light, I forget what it was, a purple alien or purple lights that came in his room and frightened him. He was a grown man, he had children, he was married at the time, and they thought he went crazy. So I'm just remembering of those stories that I was told about purple. Interesting. Yes, people start noticing when you're watching a video or something bizarre happens or some news footage. Notice if they're wearing the colors purple or lavender, something in that family, you know, and Tiffany blue, or I would call it a light blue. Okay, and it's something that yeah, that's what I'm seeing a lot of now. You know, so anyway, this channeler um, shared that he saw these orbs, these light balls, and it frightened him. He started screaming. And then I think he said that he heard this voice. He didn't know what to, it frightened him, the experience. And I think he said he called up, he contacted his family. But one thing that the experience of him, this mystical experience experiencing at the young age of 16, uh, living in an Ivy League school campus, uh, he thought because that it was something mystical that maybe, he said at the end of the interview that he thought this was his calling, that this was his calling. That's what he thought. But he initially, in the earlier part of the interview, that um, he initially took 2 years off of college. His parents let him uh, stay out of school for about 2 years, and he just wanted to get his head together. And then he decides, hey, I want to go back to, let me just finish. He didn't want to deal with this information from these beings or these deities, whatever. They were what they call enlightened masters, some people would call them. Um, um, he said they were like people from the past, like he said, Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi, uh, Mary Magdalene. I'm not sure if he said Jesus, but those characters. And so he thought because of the type of beings that were communicating with him audibly. This was audibly, he said. He didn't see them, but they spoke to him, allegedly, these things, while he was in school. Again, this was the first time this ever happening to him. And he's just a young black kid, decides to take 2 years off. And then he says, let me go back in. I don't want to deal with this. I'm not ready to deal with that. And he says, I just want a normal life. And so he does all what's considered normal. He marries, he gets children. He gets a job in the in the corporate world, and then his life started falling apart. Really weird. And I'm giving these details because I think there's a pattern in this. So he had a mystical experience. He decides to not follow it and just go a natural route. Um, his life falls apart. The man, he gets a divorce. Um, he goes into the field. He decides, he becomes homeless for 6 months, and he stops paying child support because he couldn't function. And again, what was happening at this time with the beings? I don't remember whether these people were communicating with him when he was in the business world. Yeah, he was doing well. He's a smart guy, started a family and all that. I forget whether he said whether he was getting messages during his marriage, which led to his fall, or circumstances, and for whatever reason he can't seem to cope. Either way, he did divorce, has to pay child support and all that. Then during his homelessness months of 6 months, he had forgotten to pay his child support, and his kids were jeopardized. And his children and the ex-wife had to move. They couldn't afford where they were living, and he felt guilty about that. He said the worst that could have ever happened was his jeopardizing his children. But he gets found by a friend of his, and they invited him to come to Las Vegas, Nevada, in the U.S. And so evidently his friend knew about his abilities, okay, a friend and his abilities. And they started, well, I should say, yeah, he started a business there. Once he got his act together, he quickly started a business doing channeling spirits and all that. He said it was very successful, and he did it for 4 years, and then whammo, everything fell apart. His world fell apart again. He did not specify what type of medical problems he was encountering, but it fell through. And then he's he's thinking to himself, why did this happen to him? And he spoke to his guides, his spirit guides, or those enlightened masters like Buddha and Mary Magdalene and Gandhi, right? What happened? And the man in question says, well, he realized he made a mistake. He thought because they were reaching out to him, these enlightened masters, that he was to follow the career path, of a spirit person, what do you call it, an enlightened person, like a Gandhi type, He thought he was doing the calling, because remember, he started out in the business world. He went the main route. You go to school, graduate from college, get a wife, then get kids, and you get a good job. You live happily ever after. He followed that route. He didn't want to do the spirit work. So when his life fell the first time in divorce and all that, and all the drama being homeless for 6 months, um, he thought the calling was there for him, that because he was resistant. Now, okay, he's falling into line, so to speak, and doing what the spirit wants him to do, right? Wouldn't you think the same thing with the testimony that he's sharing? And then being told that just because they told him just because um, the type of beings we are, enlightened beings we are, we weren't inviting you to be like us, but we just so excited that you could communicate with us. People, people, do you smell something? Is something fishy to you? Is something fishy to you? I started asking myself more questions after I did my live stream yesterday afternoon about this channeler, black slash African American channeler of spirits. And I started asking myself the question, was this man actually a targeted individual? They call it TI, targeted individual. You have people, yeah, I heard about this genre, I think was either 2016 or 28, around 2018. Around that time, I uh, learned over YouTube this genre called targeted individuals. And what happens with people who allege that are being targeted, um, they start to hear voices, and now these are usually usually they target women, older, middle. They're like in their prime, like in the 30s, 40s. These women never had any mental episode. Um, may have money, they're educated, stable. And then one day in their 30s or 40s, this weird things start to happen to them. They start to hear voices, maybe even see things. Um, and I'm wondering whether this phenomena happened to, yeah, his name is Kevin Blackwell. Kevin Blackwell. I don't know whether he's still alive. The video that I saw was uploaded 3 years ago, and he does have what do you call it, a website. But when I looked in the website, um, it wasn't updated since 2011. So I don't know. The content up there is all outdated. The last post 2011, he was going to do a conference. It's 2023. It's 2023 now. So I don't know, you know. Um, so I hope he's well. I hope he's okay. I did Google his name. I typed in his name on YouTube, and I hope he's still alive. I hope he's well. But anyway, I started thinking about this guy's life and certain red flags. Now, let's use logic, people. You are a young child, you're a minor, you're at the age of 16, never had any episode, and no family. He never mentioned any family members that hear voice, things like that. Never. Because some things called, what they call schizophrenia is usually a phenomenon that tends to be inherited, and you get the symptoms usually at an early age, you know, or even in your 20s. Some trauma happens usually, something happens, and it triggers this phenomenon, and usually so-called medication helps treat it, is effective. But if you're what they call a targeted individual, and your symptoms are due to technology, okay? Technology is out there that could produce similar symptoms of like people who are what they classify as schizophrenic. Okay, so if you give them so-called antipsychotic medication, if you're a target individual, it won't do anything because it's not something biological. It's something um, a a device that they use a microwave device that has been patented. Yeah, if you go on the internet, it's called the Voice of God technology. And I think the person's name is John Hall. He is a scientist, and he used to work for, guess who? One of those alphabet agencies. And this alphabet agency had him make this device that is patented. And you can aim it at people, and you can speak it, you could be uh, 50 feet away. You aim it towards them and you speak into it, and the message is directly transferred over into the person's mind. Because it works by microwave, it could bypass the what's called the collocular uh, of the inner ear. That's the thing that but it sends out electrical impulses. Like okay, how the ear works. A sound wave goes into the eardrum, and the eardrum carries that over into the collocular of the ear, the inner ear, and that translates the sound waves into an electrical impulse, and that electrical impulse is then sent to the part of the brain that transcribes audio electrical impulses, and then you hear what the sound was, whether someone talking, hearing birds in the trees, etc. Okay, so this device, the Voice of God technology, as it's known as, could bypass, go through the skull and directly into because it's all electrical slash energy, so it could go right in, and you hear the sound as if it's coming from inside your head. And I'm thinking back on when I first learned of the genre called Targeted Individual, or TI. There was this black man, other black man, younger, he's like in his 40s, and he's a normal guy. And then one day as an adult, this voice, I don't remember the guy's name, but you just could type in on YouTube targeted individual or black person, African American targeted individual, and you'll find him. And he actually wrote a book. I did email him. He no longer has his book on sale, he told me. But either way, he said one day that he heard these voices, and they were telling him to do things that were unthinkable. And because they have that device that was produced, through the Alphabet Agency. I don't want to give the name of the agency, but you can just speculate which agency, and you're probably right. I don't want to give that name, uh, agency name, in this live stream. But they gave him. Yeah, I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me okay on this. I do have my mic on. Let me know if you can hear clearly. So anyway, this individual um, man was being targeted, and it was telling him to do horrible things. And if he didn't do those things, we're going to hurt you. And so what they did, they hurt his grandma and made her have a heart problem, like simulating a heart attack. He panicked. Yeah, the grandma is okay, but they did that to the grandma, and then he did what they told him to do. And around this time, also, another black man. Okay, these are intelligent black people. And this other black man, around the same time, um, he was a lawyer, a black man who was a lawyer. Um, I think he had his own practice or something. He was doing well, and he too gets targeted, and they were harassing him, making him go crazy, feel like he's going crazy. He goes on YouTube and gives a detailed account of what was happening to him, asking, pleading for help. He said he went to the police, uh, reaching out, had something is going on, I'm being targeted, blah, blah, blah. And he couldn't take it, so he did his last video, and he said he was going to do, he gave apology. He was a devout Christian. He was a devout Christian man. Why didn't this Jesus help him? See that? Because some things are not real. You invest all your time and money on religion, and this person in the religion that says that they're your savior, but yet they didn't save him, didn't protect him. But anyways, he gave his last video, and an apology video, because he was going to do something. He asked God for forgiveness, Jesus for forgiveness and all that. And then he goes out with a weapon, and he carves on the weapon EMF. EMF stands for electromagnetic frequency. I think that's what it said, EMF. Oh, I could be wrong, but I think it said EMF. But either way, it was to let them know this is what's going on. And he does what he does. He goes to his old college library, and he does what he does. No one else got killed, but I think it was just a suicide to have them shoot at him. They shot him immediately. They shot him up about 40 times. Yeah. But it's interesting how some other mass shooters don't get any bullets. Remember that kid, that 18-year-old that went into a black church and shot them all up, and the cops did not shoot him, and they brought him to McDonald's because they thought he was hungry. Could you believe it? Things like that get me angry, people. You that you shoot other people but not others. I don't understand it. But anyway, I know I'm going a little bit off the topic. But so that man that got shot to death at the school library, they found his social media and shit what happened, and so the other black guy that got targeted also around the same time found out about the guy that went to the library with his weapon. Yeah, so he started advocating on social media the dangers of this technology, and that it's not that they're not going crazy. They're being targeted. Yeah, and this fellow, I wish I could remember his name, but he started doing YouTube videos on the subject, and he interviewed, I think the guy is John Hall. John Hall. He's an author of several books on this technology that yeah, pretty sure his name is John Hall. There's someone else that also investigates. I have the books also. I have both books um, on the subject. Two researchers, the scientist that made the device, and he goes on lectures. Yes, you can find him on YouTube. This scientist who gave lectures um, about these technologies when he used to work for the government. Um, the government is allowing him to share certain information, but he's limited. You know, he could, yeah, because it's patented, so it's public domain, those things that are patented, but he cannot go farther on certain things, because it was his technology that he made. But he says that he did not know that the government was going to misuse his device. And he feels guilty. According to him in the interview, he feels guilty about that his technology is being used to harm people. So he feels to try to compensate for what he did is to do the lectures and to teach people about the technology. So, so things are out there, and so when I listened to that man yesterday, Kevin Blackwell, the uh, channeler who channels spirits. Um, I'm wondering, could you hear me, guys? Let me know. So I'm wondering whether or not what really happened to him. Why would a spirit, an enlightened being like Gandhi, Buddha, uh, Mary Magdalene, why would they want to visit a 16-year-old boy who's on a fantastic career path, um, who graduated from school 2 years early to enter an Ivy League college in New York City, to talk to him? And they said that they like that, that they can learn from him. You can't learn from one another. You can't learn like Gandhi can't learn from Buddha, and Buddha can't learn from Mary Magdalene. Why do they need to talk to a 16-year-old boy? People, people, I hope you hear what I'm saying. I hope you're listening out there. I really hope. Yet sometimes when I'm listening to programs, I listen in layers. Like, you know, basically I watch YouTube for entertainment, just to, just sit and relax and just be entertained with the content, not really thinking. And then I started thinking certain things, and I did my initial video yesterday on several topics. I think they're all kind of overlap. And then last night I started thinking more in detail. I said, hey, wait a minute. Then your logic starts to really kick in. And I started thinking about those other people, those black men who were targeted. The guy who went to the library and got shot by the cops. The other black fellow who was being told to do things uh, to defile himself, actually. I want to be very discreet. And that if he didn't do his self-defilement, that they will kill his grandma. these are technologies. I'm wondering whether this Kevin Blackwell was he actually communicated with these enlightened ones, or were these evil scientists who are targeting intelligent people? It does not just happen to black people. It happens a lot to white females, a lot of women. They seem to target intelligent people, people with jobs, so-called stable people. And one person that who applied for a government position with the Alphabet Agency, she didn't get in. But when you apply for jobs with the Alphabet agencies, government agencies, your name gets on a list. And they targeted her. They targeted her. And this one person, woman, again, a normal woman, she's a Caucasian woman, an American, and she was being, I know this is very challenging, this time of day, this conversation. Um, but I feel it's important because, see, sometimes you just got to get the information out. Let people know. Um, this woman, she knew something was happening to her during her sleep. Again, this normal girl, never, not girl, but woman, 30s or 40s, stable. And she was the daughter of someone uh, who had a friend that was an investigator. When the family member contacted directly this investigator, told, hey, my daughter is going through this, please help her out. And because the investigator knew the family, the parents, and, a stable home, good people, he said, okay, I'll see what I can do. So he set up cameras. He set up cameras in her apartment. I think she lives in like an apartment or duplex or something. But he sets up the cameras in her house. And lo and behold, people, lo and behold, um, they got somebody on camera. I think it was two men. And the camera showed someone going in her refrigerator, and putting something in her bottled water. And then the sexual assault when she fell, because she drank her water and then she passed out. And this was caught on camera. Well, of course, this man brought it to the authorities. Oh, we can't do any. They claim they can't do anything about it. Oh, it's not considered a break-in. Oh, come on, people. This is evil. You have something on camera, someone entering her apartment, drugging her, raping her, and the police still didn't help. It goes to show you how much power these agencies have to do this. She done them no harm. No harm. She didn't do a damn thing to anybody. But they targeted her, and I think some people go rogue. They're going rogue. They get these jobs, and a lot of these alphabet agencies, just to say, they recruit exclusively from Ivy League schools only. They don't get these people from what we call community colleges or your general local four-year-old school, 4-year university. They go exclusively to Ivy League schools only. So that was the other red flag regarding Kevin Blackwell, the channeler of spirits, because he too went to an Ivy League school. And did you know also what they call the I have to spell out the last word, Bomber, uni Bomber. That person was recruited from a an Ivy League school. I forget the name of that Ivy League school. If anybody could like type in that person's name, the you know, that last name, Bomber. And they call him that name because he was putting explosives in colleges uh, and a job that I used to work at. Yeah, in advertising agencies. Yeah, yep. And he was recruited at the age of 18. And they invited him and said, hey, you're so intelligent. And yeah, he was a bright guy, bright 18-year-old. Um, I don't remember what college he went to, but then if anyone could Google his name, what college he went to. Um, and they invited him to go into this research to be a subject in experiments. Well, you can see how well that went. And he went rogue and he did what he did. So, why are these schools? So I asked myself, why are these Ivy League schools doing these horrible things to young people? Is this part of social engineering? Is this what social engineering is all about? People could work into these large corporate, a university, a private university is a corporation, right? I'm just thinking, not all corporations are manufacturers, but some corporations are universities. And these Ivy League schools have been in existence for a long time. Don't these universities, don't they have the power of social engineering, experiments? Didn't after World War II, that particular regime in Germany, weren't they invited to work for these alphabet agencies and NASA and universities, right? Weren't they? So what if their descendants are still in these universities in top positions, let's say directors of departments, and telling people, okay, we're going to do a study on X, Y, and Z. Get subjects so that we can experiment on them. Let's see how to modify behavior. Why is this? Why is why are people of genius minds being used to create havoc on humanity? If you have all this wisdom, knowledge, why don't you create things that benefit humanity, like clean air, um, healthy foods, right? But they're doing things to harm people. Why is this? Well, I speculate these universities are cover for um, evil intent, social engineering. You get a whole bunch of little 17, 18-year-old kids. You could socially brainwash them through a lot of things. I remember when I started college, yeah, there was a lot of foolishness being taught and behaviors. Now, I mentioned early in my live stream here of a friend that went to the same college that this guy named Kevin Blackwell went to. She went to Columbia slash Barnard College. Yeah, and back in those days, they didn't allow women in the school, but a subgroup within the school of Columbia. But she lived on the campus, and she was telling me things. Yeah, this is over 40 years ago that she was telling me, and she was saying that these things allegedly, I have to use the word allegedly because I wasn't there, that these events allegedly happened to her, um, to uh, how do you say carefully, to introduce certain sexual behaviors with same gender people. Okay, now she was not of that persuasion. But she said, "Oh well, in the lounge, the ladies' lounge, they were pushing this issue, and so she was young and naive, and so she was experimenting. Why are these schools teaching teenage girls to experiment that way? This was over 40 years ago. 40 years ago. They were doing these social, and again, what your preferences, people, I have to preface this, um, what your personal preferences are of your mate is your business. That is your business. But I'm just noting that this person was not of that persuasion, and that they pushed her into that, and she wanted to fit in. These are some of the words, like she's saying, that she wanted to fit in. That she wanted to be a part of the group, and but that's what they were teaching at that allegedly at that university. Allegedly, she told me that that's what happened to her. Again, I'm not physically there, but this is what she's telling me, and this is 40 something years ago. I didn't really know about that type of behavior back then. That's something wasn't really talked about, especially with women. So why is this? So I'm thinking that a lot of these schools are part. I feel a lot of these universities may be fronts for doing research upon your child and inviting your child and appealing to their so-called intellect because they have a high IQ. Oh, you got a high IQ. Oh, we got to use you. Okay. I'm just speculating that's what they might have said to some of these victims. Or and some researcher, they might say, oh, if you be a part of this study, we give you extra credit, or we give you a free meal, or maybe we give you some pocket money. Okay. I'm not saying that that's happened to uh, Kevin Blackwell. I'm not saying that. But some of these things can happen to individuals in college. Yeah, like, because I had gone to college, and sometimes, you know, like they want to do um, not an experiment, but like a, what do you call it when you want to get oh brother, you ask a person a question and you survey. That's the word, survey. And that's what was said to us, like for a survey. Oh, if you do fill out this survey, you get extra credit. You get extra points on your grades, or that's you know what I'm saying. That's what can happen in universities, and you have little impressionable teenagers, first time away from home, right? Their first time away from home, and they do that. They may do that to your kids, or they experiment. For you to do things of a sexual nature that you've never done before, and public opinion. You may feel, oh, you won't be in the in crowd, right? what else happens in colleges? People get invited to uh, fraternities and sororities, right? What are they? What are they? Aren't they um, organizations that um, do things? They have their outward purpose, and then they have their uh, occult practices, right? They have the outward practice and then the hidden practices of those organizations. And I'm concerned about what's happening to young people. And the examples that I gave, hello, viewers, good morning, good morning, good morning. Please say, I invite you to say hello in the chat room. Don't be shy. Yeah, let me know what you think. I mean, what are your experiences? Have any of you ever gone to a college or university and you were asked to be a part of an experiment or a study? What happened to you? Were you asked to drink certain things or have electrodes go in your brain? What happened? Do you know of people that went into a study or experiment in college and they never were the same mentally? Look at all these people in New York City now, all these people acting bizarre. Why is this? And again, why were the two black people, the one that whose grandmother was threatened, and then the one that went to the library to cause harm to people, but he was eliminated by the police when they arrived. Why are these people targeted? So the voices that these people hear, such as Kevin Blackwell, the channeler, the black slash African American channeler, why was he targeted at such a young age? Was what happened to him? Again, I'm just asking myself a question. Why would an enlightened being, because he said, Mr. Blackwell said, that at 16 he had all the, Buddha, uh, Mary Magdalene, and Gandhi and other people come, audibly to him and to communicate with him. Why would an adult energy want to talk to a child? I consider a 16-year-old a child, a minor, and have this man go through so much crap. If this enlightened being was so enlightened when he got afraid and then wanted to and left school, he was got a full scholarship to Columbia University, he said, and then to leave that school. What do they say? Tell him, hey, you're a black kid in the 21st century, 20th century. You better stay in school and do as well as you can and try to start your own business because you're going to face these challenges as a black man. You know, did they say that to him? No, they didn't. So they're going to allow him. These enlightened beings are not going to communicate with him when he left school, and kind of like he traveled around for 2 years, and then he came back and completed his studies, and he said, look, I want to stay on the mainstream path and get an education, get married with kids and all that. And then it fell through. It seemed like his life was like, because there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong in his life. So it seemed like that he was set up fulfill, do something. He wasn't specific about what caused him to fall. There was nothing like happening in his marriage, but his life just fell apart. This was a stable guy. It looked like a down to earth guy. What happened? And then again, he feels that, oh, yeah, because he becomes homeless after his divorce. He was homeless for 6 months, and then his so-called friend, hey, let me invite you to Las Vegas. Then he sets up shop there and becomes extremely successful, he said. He said it was a very successful business doing channeling. And then, boom, something happens. Why? Why is this? This does not sound like a God, a spirit, spirit entities or spiritual or enlightened beings. Why didn't they heal his body, heal his business, or something? Doesn't this sound like a possible setup? Let's see how far he can go. Oh, let me, it's like there's no consistency in um, in like he's being toyed with. That's what I'm getting at. It sounded to me when I heard his biography. I mean his story, his life story, on this interview. It doesn't sound like that this person was really communicated with uh, higher spiritual beings, because they would have advised him. Could you imagine in the real life, if you have all these top people, and again you're a highly intelligent person, and you're disciplined, and then boom, and then boom again, and then tell them the answer. Oh, we weren't asking you to become someone on a spiritual path. We just wanted to communicate with you because we liked the fact that you were able to talk to us. That's all. People, does that sound like an enlightened being? Does that sound like what Gandhi would say? Mary Magdalene and who's the other person? And the Buddha? People, do you think those beings, if they were really existed energetically, their spirit, do you think that would be something that they would say? It sounds to me, in my opinion, just my opinion, that this person was targeted and experimented on. And again, these channelers, I'm only one, I'm just speculating. I'm wondering whether, see, you have these technologies that, as I mentioned, what's called the voice of God technology that I mentioned earlier. It's a device, I think his name is John Hall. He worked for the alphabet agencies of our government, and he learned that his device that he made was being abused by the government. And as a consolation, he gives lectures to teach about the machine that he made that the government is using. And it is known by many as the Voice of God technology. It uses microwave technology, and you can speak in this device, and it bypasses the collocular of the eardrum, of the ear, in the ear, and the electrical impulse is sent directly to the brain center that translates speech or audio. And they could tell you anything. And you think it's coming out from your own head, and no one else around you hears. Only you. or they could target a group of people with this technology, which they did in the Middle East and said, this is Allah, and we command you to put down your weapons. And they put them down. People, people, this happened. This happened. So you notice now you have all these channelers out there on social media. I'm not going to give any names. You could just go on YouTube and type in the word channeler or medium or spiritualist, right? And it sounds like a common theme, some of them, such as the Mother Earth thing. You know, yeah, I talked about the Mother Earth syndrome thing in yesterday's live stream I did. But in today's, in this live stream, yeah, it sounds like they all reading the same script. And I was told that what they call we call New Age movement is something allegedly that was produced by the alphabet agencies of our government. Again, I don't know definitive, I don't know, but that's what I heard. And so if this is something that's devised by the alphabet agencies, and it seems like these spirits that are being channeled are all saying the same thing, right? About Mother Earth and all the, you know. And I mentioned also yesterday about our governor in New York City. I live in New York City. This is what you're looking at, the New York City skyline. And yes, it's very, very foggy outside, and it's supposed to rain today. But in New York City, our mayor is saying, oh, people to don't eat any more meat because we want to save Mother Earth. Could you believe that? A mayor? Isn't that so-called religion? Oh, I thought the separation of church and state, right? Isn't that a type of religion? You talk about Mother Earth. It's a philosophy or a religion to some people. Don't eat meat because you got to save the planet, save Mother Earth. Well, can Mother Earth um, fight back? Really, if Mother Earth, uh, I think Mother Earth is stronger than people, and if Mother Earth gets really pissed, can she not, Mother Earth, withhold oxygen? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What do you think, people? Why is he? Why is the mayor of New York City uh, requesting the people here to don't eat meat? And then I also added yesterday in my live stream, well, if he's concerned about how Mother Earth feels, why is it being pushed the trans, to change your orientation? I got to be very careful. Again, for adults, you know, to each his own. What you're into is what you into. What you do to your adult body is your business. But when you attack children, I'm talking about little children and pushing little children, minors, to do drastic things to their developing bodies that they can never change back. Isn't Mother Nature or Mother Earth upset about that? What people use your logic. Use your logic these days. See, they don't want you to be logical. They want you to think illogical and irrational. Start using your brain and start thinking, what in the world is happening to our children? They're being indoctrinated. That's what's happening. Your little kids are being indoctrinated to become confused and to follow where the stream is going. The stream is going downhill. Mother Earth. I mean, would your mother want you to defile your body? Would any mother? Mother Nature. Nature has a balance, and they want you to go against the balance, against the grain. So, how could our mayor that's pushing the facilities, there is a facility here in New York City for them to hang out at? And overwhelmingly, the ones that I'm seeing are all black men that they're dressed really cuckoo. They're out of their mind. So it's not about just, oh, I just attracted to this gender, or, I feel that I'm this gender. No, it's something that their behavior, they're mentally unstable. And again, I'm not a mental practitioner. I'm not that, but it's just my opinion. You see them on the street acting cuckoo, dressed cuckoo, saying cuckoo things, unstable. Some of them are yelling at people. Oh, God, it's really spooky. And overwhelmingly, they all tend to be black men. Is this social engineering to remove a certain demographics from New York City so he is no longer a viable participant in the economy? And they're bringing in also in my neighborhood, illegals, and then they are housing them in a hotel. And the cost for each room is $500. And the fires that happen at that hotel, because they're not supposed to cook in their rooms, but they're cooking in their rooms, and all these fire engines. Sometimes I'm doing a live stream, and you hear the fire engines in the background. Yeah, I'm not saying that all the fire engines are responding to that place, but it has happened, according to the news. So why are they bringing in these people? Because they're going to remove you from the demographics, and they're importing new people to take your jobs. They want you out. What we also have in the what we also have in this community in New York City where I live. Oh God, what was I going to say? Um, oh God, what was I going to say? Yeah, I was just saying. Oh God, what was I going to say? Now something about the illegals, and oh yeah, they're housing them, $500. Oh, they're also educating them too. There were 4 buses, school buses, in front of the hotel for the little kids to go to school. Whose tax money is paying for it? I walked past a job site, a construction site, and none of those people were American looking. Okay, I know that's a very controversial statement. They were not speaking English. They looked, in my opinion, of people from other parts of the, South America. They were speaking in Spanish. They even had women at the construction site, and no English was there. No Black Americans were there. None of them. And that was at a job site I walked past just last week. Last week. Why is this? Why is this? You have to start putting the pieces together. Why? I mean, I'm born and raised here in New York City, and I've never seen anything like this. Never. How could you have in New York City uh, a population of American citizens who are desperate for work and good pay, and you deny them to work at a construction site, you could have had them holding the sign, like they had the women holding the sign, walk or don't walk. They could have gotten some black dude doing that. But they're not having you in there. And that is what I call, in my opinion, social engineering 101. Social engineering. They are making them mentally incapable of holding down a job. They're confusing them to even know what their gender is. They have them act cuckoo. They have. Oh yeah, I was going to say about the drug paraphernalia. They have all over New York City the what we call weed. The thing that you inhale, you light up and you inhale it. They're all over New York City, all over. Who do you see that goes in there primarily? Who do you see in those um, cannabis shops in there? But black men, black American men, you see in there. We're getting more tourists now, and I'm starting to see some of the tourists kind of like being curious and going in there. But primarily, who you see going in there are black people, black men. And I believe that I'm wondering whether those drugs are being manipulated. Are these drugs tainted with things to alter uh, their concept of themselves? Yeah, I just saw a comment. Let me just read the comment now. Hold on. Okay, I see Daryl Martin. Yes, hello, Daryl Martin. Daryl Martin shared could be a 5G manipulation frequency that works. I'm sorry, that works better on humans the lighter you eat. Oh, I never heard of that. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Daryl. Anybody else has a question regarding that? I mean, something you'd like to share? Yeah, yeah. You don't have to make it one way. I invite your comments. Each one teach one. I'm only trying to put the pieces together. This doesn't make sense to me. I am born and raised here in New York City, and I'm seeing behavior that I don't quite understand. And I'm seeing a push. We got a black mayor, and our black mayor is not doing anything to help the homeless black men, young black men that are on the street. But somehow his administration is allowing foreigners to get these good jobs. No, this is not an anti-immigrant rant, but I can't go to any country and get a job without, um, you have to have the local people get the jobs first. Only like some of those like top, uh, like like positions, skills that are considered top notch, like an engineer, scientists and things like that, you know. But everyday jobs of regular everyday people, it's for uh, natives first, people who are of that area first. Even in Hawaii, they push that. They say, they talk about, you know, um, the people who are from there first. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Should it be also New Yorkers first for the jobs in New York? Wouldn't that make sense for a joblessness environment? I mean, condition, social condition. There are a lot of jobless people. There are a lot of people who lost jobs and companies shut down. And now you're going to bus by the busload people from other nations who have no money, who have no jobs, and have no top skills. They are going to be competing with poor black people in New York City, poor American blacks, poor American whites, poor American Asians, poor American Hispanics, poor Americans, period. Classrooms will be filled to capacity, overflowing. Where are you going to get books for these kids? It is taxing the system. We're being, in my humble opinion, we are being set up as a nation. We're being set up. And they're doing social engineering to remove certain segments of our population to our harm. And I'm very sad about this as an American and as a black person. I am very, very sad and wondering about these technologies. Yeah, Daryl, if you're still there, yeah, I'm concerned about these technologies. 5G. 5G technology. These technologies that are communicating, sorry, allegedly communicating with people and have them act out. What if these are people who think that they're another gender? What if this technology is going in their head that change this about you, nonstop, and you believe that because you hear it in your head that it's your voice. Not every voice in your head is yours. I'm going to repeat. Not every voice you hear in your head is your own. Not every voice you hear in your head is your own. It's not your own. It's not your own. There's other YouTubers that shared that they allegedly got targeted, and they implanted her body. Allegedly, she is implanted by devices throughout her body, and that uh, they're able to see what she's looking at. They have implants behind her eye so they can see what she's looking at. They have implants in her midsection, allegedly, and they allegedly stole technologies. Her she claimed that she invented something, or she at least had something on paper, an idea that they stole her idea, allegedly. Some major corporation in the U.S., allegedly. Um, and she says she's suffering now. And she had to move. She's from New York City, like myself, and that she moved to some undisclosed location out west. Wow. Why is this, people? What is really happening? I don't think people are drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. I think something is being done to them. So again, this um, this man allegedly hearing the voice of these enlightened spirit beings like Gandhi and Buddha and the like. Why would they want to follow and have a discussion or interest in a 16-year-old boy? And then when he becomes a man, oh, I didn't tell you to do that. This sounds like someone who's playing games. Playing games. Could they not also target you in your sleep, make you dream certain things? I think this is very real, people. Uh, yeah, in your sleep. Maybe not all your dreams are really yours either, but being implanted upon you to make you fearful, especially these days with the, post C-19, as I call it, the post pandemic, as I call it, the pandemic. Yeah, you had a lot of people during the pandemic in my area who committed suicide, who jumped off the roof or the balcony. 3 people I know of, blocks away from each other, across the street from one another. People. What was being was something being broadcast? These were normal people. One was a teenager, one was in their 20s, 20 or 30s. Yeah, I think late 20s, and the other one an older man. Could have been like in his 50s, 60s. Why? And they're just blocks apart, across the street from one another. How does that happen? Could these large cities be experiments of higher technologies and to aim it at people? Uh, and again, 2 of these people were black people, and one was a white man, elderly white man. Could certain people be deliberately targeted to have them do those behaviors? Again, not every thought is yours. And I shared with you people why this is so personal to me, why I'm taking this so personal, because, I shared this information before. I went to a restaurant in 2018. This person had contacted me, and they, in general, don't contact, have not contacted me. I don't get in contact with this person, but they uh, insisted on coming over, and I didn't want to seem rude. I go out, we find a place to eat, and this phenomenon happened to me. Again, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke I don't do drugs. I live a very clean life. Um, this happened in May of 2018, and it was approaching 6 p.m. Yeah, we got at the restaurant at 4 p.m. to have a late brunch. I mean, not brunch, or lunch, late lunch. We were there for almost 2 hours when this thing happened to me. Um, Something energetically happened. Um, First, like my mood changed all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm having a good meal and everything. Um, I felt like I kind of slumped a little bit in my chair. Like something was like connecting to my energy body, if I can word it like that. And this sudden severe down energy, what do you call it? Like depression, like extreme guilt, a sensation of extreme guilt. But I didn't do anything. And then I heard an audible voice coming from inside the center of my brain. It felt like, I'm sick and tired of hearing you talk about, and that's all I remember. It was a American sounding voice, or what we would call a Caucasian white female voice, kind of young sounding, and she was real angry, and it was very soft, the voice, like they had the volume on low, but I heard it very clearly, very distinct, and then followed after that, um, my heart starts pounding erratic, strong and erratic. And I told the person I was with, I said, there's something wrong. Now, I didn't tell them about the audio, but my heart. I said, something's wrong. My heart is pounding real hard. Something's wrong. So they said, okay, just sit back, relax. They said, something's going on. And I forget exactly what I told him. Then the person responded, soon when you said that, I felt, the person said, this wave of energy, like a wave of energy, hit him on the left side of his head, and then he felt dizzy. That's what the person told me at that spot, at that time, when I told, hey, something's going on. This could have happened like at 5:55. And what's really interesting, people, and I think I shared this also, and I think I want to try it again on my computer. It's something that's called gematria. Gematria. Gematria is a science of numbers. You have you have like a compute like a computer, these databases that you type in a date and compare it with another date, and it can calculate the number of hours, the number of minutes, the number of days, the number of weeks, the number of months, the number of years, etc., etc. And this thing, I did this. I did this. Gematria. I took my birth date, and because someone had mentioned something on the internet, they were mentioning about a politician, and that they did a gematria, like when this person was running for office, and compared it to his birthday, and the numbers were all the same numbers. Yeah, I have people who do things based on numbers and time and sequence. So when I heard that, I said, hey, let me try a gematria on me, my birthday, and compare it to that event that happened to me at a restaurant with this person. And I wasn't going to go to that place. I never ate at that restaurant. It was to me at random, because we had investigated other places to eat, but the answer was no. And the person uh, decided, let's try another place. And so we finally went into the place that we went to. I wasn't even paying attention to the name of the place, but I've been to one of the chains before, and it's a okay restaurant. I'm not going to give the name of the place, um, but I went there, and this event happened, and when I did a gematria, I did the gematria maybe. Okay, this incident happened in 2018. Let's see. Let me count how many days. 18, 19, 21, 22. Okay, so that's 5 years ago. This May, next month, will make it 5 years exactly. So maybe 2 years ago, or maybe no, maybe three or four, or even 4 years ago, I did a gematria, and the numbers were all the same. And that number, people, was the number 5. It was the number 5. It was, my mouth dropped. Yeah, I was born in December, and the incident happened in May, I forget the date. It was either May 8th or May 9th. And that episode required me to go to the hospital. I took a taxi. The person accompanied me, went to the hospital by taxi, and I only told the hospital, I said my heart. And when they took my pulse, and he ran and got his electro, the thing that the monitor to put on your chest to monitor your heart. He said, you have an irregular heartbeat. And this was because it took us about an hour from once the incident happened to the hospital, and it still was erratic. But at the time, it felt like a little bit more mellow, it didn't feel the same, but my heart was still erratic. So just imagine if they had the device, the chest device at the time when that happened. Oh, it was unreal. Unreal, people. This technology is real, I believe. And why I'm also mentioning this event, um, about a year after the episode with me at the restaurant with this other person, and I got targeted, and the person I was with got hit too, but he only got hit in the head. But with me, they targeted me, my heart. Yeah, I almost forgot. The next day after the incident, um, my ears were like inflamed, my eardrums inflamed, and I had diarrhea. You bet when I went to the hospital, now I was very careful not to tell them, I only told them symptoms, physical symptoms, not anything mental, okay? You have to use wisdom. Because I didn't know whether I was drugged at the restaurant. I mean, I'm not trying to sound paranoid. This is what happened. Um, and so they took blood tests, they took a urinalysis, they took the stool sample, they checked my ears, and they couldn't find any pathogen. And so that's how I know that something was targeting me. And back then in 2018, I was very, lived a very, very quiet life. Um, like now, I walk my dog, so my videos weren't as, you know, um, I was, yeah, back then in 2018, I was learning about what's called the super soldier um, genre and the secret space genre. And at the time of my getting attacked at the restaurant electronically, I was just talking about O negative blood, people. That's all I was talking about. At the time I got zapped, that I knew someone who had O negative blood. And that was it. And I think they got angry because I was talking about O negative blood and they didn't want to hear it. And so they zapped me, I believe, with one of those voice of God technology from that restaurant. Because the person that I was with said that that he felt something hit him from the side of his head on the left side. So, and on the left side was where the door opening was into that part of the dining area. So I believe someone from the other room. I don't. I mean, I can only speculate with this part. Now there were only two other couples in the room. The room was virtually empty, and they were sitting on the opposite side, not towards the where the entrance was, where the person felt the wave of something hit him on the side of the head and made him feel dizzy after that. Okay. Um, I'm believing, because see, this area where I could at least tell you where the area it happened. The theater district in New York City. We have what's called the theater district in New York City. Also, it's right near Times Square. Times Square, you all heard of Times Square. And you have a lot of devices up there, a lot of towers and things like that there. And because you have the theater district, you may have individuals, like this is a speculation on my part. You have individuals who like to listen to people's conversation to steal ideas of, the industry of theater. Maybe that was a spot where people go and talk about projects that they want to start on Broadway, and they want to uh, eavesdrop on conversation. Now, I am not in any related industry. I'm retired. I'm not in any industry in Broadway or anything like that, any performance. I can't act for beans. I am not, I'm just a regular person. I'm just a regular person, and I'm speculating that maybe they have listening devices in these restaurants that are near, that are in the theater district or Times Square to find out sensitive information. I don't know. I mean, people, what do you think? Do you know of anybody that ever experienced something like this? Well, I experienced this. I lived a very, very, very quiet life in 2018. Very quiet. Walk my dogs, eat my food, watch YouTube videos on back then uh, on human consciousness, secret space program, super soldiers, and the targeted TIs, targeted individuals. Yeah, I learned of the. That's right. I did know about that. And yeah, I first heard about those things in 2016. So 2 years later, I'm just talking to someone just on things that you just can get on YouTube. Real, you know, not many people are into that genre. And then I was talking about O negative blood. Was that signaling to me there's something about O negative blood that they don't want you to know about? Who cares whether you got O negative or positive XYZ blood? Who cares? But this person cared enough to intercept my conversation and then to zap me while I was just on my way out. We had just completed our meal. We paid our bill and paid gave the tip, and I was just finishing up my water, and I was just about to go. The attack happened approximately 50 to 6 p.m. or 55 minutes after five. Oh, how go? I mean, at 5:50 or 5:55 p.m. this happened. Around that time, and we didn't tell the waitress or anything. We just leave at 6. That's what happened. And then again, I did the gematria, which coincidentally, the gematria, as I told you, gematria is like the science of numbers, and you can calculate uh, certain things, events, and you could calculate how many, the number of years, uh, months, weeks, days, hours, seconds, when you compare one date with another. And when I compare the date of when I was born to the date of the incident, everything was the number 5. Could you believe that? And here, coincidentally, at the time when I did the gematria for the first time, I had almost forgotten that the time that the incident happened, and it happened around 5:55 p.m. All number 5s. Yes, so that taught me that, hey, was this coincidence? With gematria, I don't think it's ever a coincidence, but it could have been something metaphysical. It could have been something metaphysical. This gematria and being targeted at a restaurant. Um, that was the first and last time that ever happened, at least like that. But I had gotten, let's see, also in 2018. Remember, I did the video, it was later in the year, and that I was experiencing these vibrations in the base of my spine and then in other parts of my anatomy. I want to be very tactful, okay? That happened to me. And this device that I was talking about, the Voice of God technology, works with microwave. They could aim it at various parts of your body and have your body do and experience certain vibrations. I'm being very tactful, people. Again, I don't do drugs, I don't drink, I live a very simple life. And that happened to me. And it was weird when it happened to me, when I pulled, yeah, I opened up a book. And immediately when I opened the book was on, what we call it, fairies. It's like a nature book, books on fairies and things like that. I was just reading for the first time, just opened it, and it was at midnight, I remember. It was at midnight, and immediately this vibration thing happened. I said, whoa. And I don't feel, now, of course, I went to the doctors, and they just said, oh, someone around your age, you can have some degeneration in the spine. I don't know any women that happens to. Come on, people. Come on. Come on. I mean, there would be a lot of women talking about that, but it didn't. It's, I believe, that technology. So who could it be? What could it be? And why me? Why you? Why anybody? And then I remember having a dream, and I shared this dream. I was like at a light sleep, but I was still dreaming. I was like aware of my physical surroundings, but I was dreaming. And there was a woman, a Caucasian woman with a heavy accent, and she sounded like someone from. Um, I went on the internet to try to find an accent like that. She could have been Dutch, that Germanic type of accent. I don't think it was actually German, but in Holland or Denmark, they sound similar. That it's a Germanic language. That's what, and she had a very round face, and she was like a scientist. And I think she had a microphone. I'm not sure, and uh, it's like you could see two things at the same time. You saw the lady, and then you saw this image of a tiger. Remember that? I gave the I talked about the dream that I had about the tiger, and the lady said, "Let the tiger eat me." And when the tiger was growling, I mean roaring, and then I saw a side view of the tiger. It was a two-dimensional only. Why would I have if I'm dreaming and I see the tiger, but it was something being broadcast to me, people, I believe. It was being broadcast. It wasn't a real tiger. It was two-dimensional. That means like a flat image, just length and width. And when you look on the side, you see it's nothing there. It's just flat like it's painted on a wall. Nothing. It was not real. Why would I dream something like that? Um, and that happened. Oh, so a couple of years after the incident at the restaurant. Yeah, this might have happened 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Why would that happen? So that's why I'm either that they could tap into your mind when you're sleeping and make you do their experiments. They do their experiments and see how you react. Because I remember after, like the lion, I mean, the tiger was a tiger, I'm sorry. The thing with the stripes, like Tony the Tiger. And it roared at me and then came over me. And so I thought I died. I didn't feel any pain or anything like that. So and I remember saying in my mind, "Oh, am I dead now? Is this what death is about?" And then I woke up. Yeah, it was a very light sleep because I could feel, my bed, as I was dreaming. It was like a light sleep. But I saw this. I experienced this. Is this a memory that I forgot? I don't remember me ever being in any study or experiment. Never. And yes, I was in the military. I very very sure I wasn't there long, but I was in the military, and yes, they gave us shots. Did they do experiments that I don't remember? I don't think so. So what happened? Has anything like this ever happened to you, people who are listening? Has anything of this nature? Yeah, you don't do drugs, you don't drink, you eat healthy foods, uh, you keep a basically low profile, you know, and then you have a random dream of this episode. Someone, and I think the lady, um, she was like in a dark room. You could see her, but it's dim lighting. I don't know this lady. I don't know this person. So that's why I really started thinking about these technologies and science, and then hearing this man, this Kevin Blackwell, the person who channels spirits, whether his phenomenon that happened to him when he was 16 years old in Columbia University, whether he was being targeted. Because they spoke to him in his room. He never had an episode like that. Oh, the other reason why I mentioned specifically that Columbia University. Yeah, if I didn't mention it, I was starting to mention, then I think I got distracted. Um, I talked to this what do you call it, spiritualist. Um, it could have been that same year, 2018 or 2019. I spoke to him several times. He seemed like a cool guy. I liked him. He's from New York also. And I told him about my incident and if he could find out, uh, what happened or who's behind it. And you know what he allegedly told me? I mean, what he told me that allegedly who could have been behind this was, get this, Columbia University. The same university that this black guy went to. What else? Oh, what else? Oh, the same school that my um childhood friend went to, and they had her compromise herself with sexual behavior that she was not a part of. I mean, that she wasn't oriented to. People, this is very odd. Very, very odd. Yeah, when he said Columbia University, yes, my ears perked up. Again, this is allegedly, I can't have to say allegedly, that, but I am wondering if they allegedly did that, did that, and he said something about a satellite, that they could have done it through a satellite. Because he said there's some school uptown, and he thinks possibly, allegedly, possibly that university. It blew my mind. It blew my, yeah. You have, don't you notice like in some families you have like I went to I had lived in Hawaii some years back. I just lived there for a couple of years before by myself, and I had a roommate. And she's again for yeah, California is something else. You think those people in California, that what's happening to those people, Northern California, Washington, and Oregon, you think those people are acting the way they are by accident? Or do you think possibly they're being targeted? Well, this person that I roomed with briefly was from California, and she shared certain things with me. Um, she too, um, when she was 5 years old in the school bus, she said she heard voices. She said she heard the voices of the people around her talking, but their mouths weren't moving. Their mouths wasn't moving, but she heard their thoughts. And she went home. When she went home, she told her mother what happened to her. She's 5 years old. This is what she's telling me, people. And the mother said that that happened to her also when she was 5. People, are we stupid? Are we that stupid? You, how could something be so exact at that same age, 5 years old? You know what they're possibly going to consider her a schizophrenic, right? You're hearing voices, right? Um, do you, and again, she's from California. Don't you think, people, that they are using this technology on families, but they want to call it schizophrenia, but perhaps it's technology, and they study families over generations. And I think her daughter also the same thing. So you got 3 generations experiencing similar phenomena, and then in California they used her. This is what she's telling me. She was telling me that one day she woke up and she was in a circle of people. Like, you know the movie Eyes Wide Shut? Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise. And in the circle, where she was in a circle, she was the subject of that circle. And she woke up after whatever what they did to her. Could you imagine? And then I heard something else. I interviewed somebody also in 2018. Interesting. I did this super soldier interview in 2018, in February of 2018. And then 3 months later in May of that same year in 2018, I had that phenomenon that happened to me at the restaurant with this other person. But in 2018, I did interview that person. Um, his name is Rodriguez. Uh, I forget his first name, but his last name is Rodriguez. And he lives in the United States. And he said that he was a survivor of the secret space program. And he shared his story when he was a child that he was kidnapped. Um, elect, how do you say it? He was in his bed, and allegedly he's saying, I mean, this is what he's told me, and you can always go on my video. You just type in the word Rodriguez. It looks like the word Rodriguez, but rather than a Z at the end, it's the letter S as in Sam. Okay, yeah, Tony Rodriguez. You just type it on my channel, Tony Rodriguez, and you see like 2 videos about him. You'll see it's almost a 4-hour video. It's that one, that video, the 4 hour. I have several videos of him, but it was one interview, and it was close to 4 hours long. It was only one interview, but I did talk about him in other videos, but it was only one actual interview I did. And he shared in his video that, I mean, in the interview that I did with him live, that when he was about 10 years old, um, well, he lived in a community. He was a smart kid, he said, but he embarrassed this guy that has a very prominent father in the community. And he heard the father say, when the kid said, the kid of the person that he insulted this little kid. And he told his father, and then there was some school event, and the kid said, "Oh, Dad, that's the guy that said that thing to me." And then I've heard the father say, "Well, he's going to get it," or something like that. And I think that night in bed, allegedly, uh, these aliens came in the room. Those little gray guys. I mean, this you can watch the interview. It was my first interview, so the audio's good, but I had my mic on loud, and so it was distracting because I was saying like that, and it was distracting people to me. I didn't realize it was going to do that, so I apologize for that ahead of time. Those of you who are going to go check out the video I did, but either way, he shared that these allegedly these little gray people, monster or something, came to him, and then they took him. And he said that, oh, what was that now? Oh yeah, okay, at one point, yeah, he was brought to a facility, according to him, because he had psychic abilities. They claimed that he had psychic abilities, and they took him to some location. They said that he was telling me, Tony Rodriguez, in the interview I did with him, said that you have people in government or corporations that use children with psychic abilities and put them on airplanes to carry illicit drugs and contraband to different countries, and that they use these psychic kids to find out if it's safe to fly or not, something like that, something to that effect, he said. And so they would drug you to get you in a hypnotic state and uh, channel information, whether it's safe or when to go, not go, etc. And these, I think he said, entities would speak through him, and he had no conscious memory of that happening until something else must have happened, and I'm not sure how he came to that knowledge, but they used to drug him up. They said he was a little boy, and that's what he said. So again, his story, this Tony Rodriguez that I interviewed, then and that lady from California that I temporarily, briefly roomed with in Hawaii, when I lived in Hawaii, is recounting an event. They would drug her. This so-called loony lady, hearing voices starting at the age of 5, and then they would drug her. And this is California, typical California in their drugs. And they were using her for something. So fast forward, I feel like, putting two and two together, that they were probably getting information through channeling information. Just like that guy that I interviewed, Tony Rodriguez, who allegedly was kidnapped and then allegedly cloned. He allegedly said he did a 20-year and back, like they um, kidnap could kidnap you in your room with technology through portals, and then clone your body, and then They have time devices. You could, like you do 20 years, and then they reverse the time, put your consciousness back in your original body. So as if, nothing ever happened. But 20 years had passed, and then they bring you back in time, put your consciousness back in your original body or something like that. That's what the interview's about. That's what he said. Yeah, he has many interviews. So imagine people. I mean, this genre, I haven't heard as much about the genre. Yeah, I first learned of the genre in 2016, and then at my peak at 2018 and 2019, and that was it. I kind of slowed down with it. Um, but people, what is the common denominator? The common denominator is about your consciousness, and that it could be altered, and that it could be manipulated to do things, to feel things, to act out things. And I did a video also a couple of years back at Times Square. Again, the restaurant I ate at was right near Times Square. And this Asian guy, like I think it's Asian and white, in an honor school program. Again, see that? Honor school program. And I think it's the same university. It's one or the other. Oh, wow. I forget the name of the university, but you guys could check it out. Just write, uh, like, targeted man dances naked on Times Square. Yeah, this guy, like, he's like 21, 22 years old, young dude. He's a model and a college student at this Ivy League school in Manhattan. And it could be the same school that this channeler went to, okay? And he said all of a sudden, when he was in Times Square, that he had this strong impulse because um, there was an advertisement for, and I did the interview, you can check it out. I mean, not interview, the video on this guy who he stripped naked. I mean, completely naked, and went on he was on the Times Square on the stairs and dancing, and the police was trying to get him. And then he leaps off this stairway thing, and they had they like a bag or something that he can jump on, but he missed the bag. He broke his shoulder or something like that. He survived the jump. And then sometime later, they did interview him. The news reporters interviewed him when he recovered. And he's acting as if nothing happened. He's, oh, I probably had they said that I had a manic episode and, you know, but it was a particular, like, in Times Square, they have these bulletins, those large screens of video playing. And he had looked at one of them, and I forget the name of it, but it could have been the word impulse. And he said that he felt that it was talking to him. Now, he never had anything like this before. Never. Never had this. And all of a sudden, he felt that, or maybe it was the word express yourself, or express. So he said, yeah, I want to express myself. So he takes off one of his clothes and dancing around, laughing. It was actually very comical to watch because it was like, is this real? And this happened in Times Square. People, do you think it's a possibility that he was targeted, people? That he was targeted in Times Square? They got tons of tall buildings there and towers, and they could zap someone. See, again, he was from an Ivy League college in New York City, like what I talked about, people. He's from an Ivy League school in New York City, a new student, or sophomore or something. I forget. But you could just go on YouTube, Google, naked college student dances in Times Square or something. something like that, and you'll find it. So what's going on? What is going on, people, to make a young man, early 20s, do this? And again, he was going to an Ivy League school, and he worked also. He was a fashion model too, uh, to pay for his college. Yeah, he was a good-looking guy, real fit also, and he did this. And you never heard anything again about that individual or how he's doing in his studies. Yeah, these things are happening here. And I think there was something else that happened. Yeah, there was something else that happened in Times Square. People, people. I'm trying to put the dots together. It comes to my memory again. This incident happened a couple of years ago. Um, it was just last year. Yeah. About, it could be 3 years ago now. Uh, Last year, I actually went to the hearing, the court, the trial that was in the federal building. Yeah, about 2 or 3 years ago, about 3 years ago, in New York City, in Times Square, a man uh, drives erratically in Times Square. It hits this thing, and the car flips upside down. He climbs out the car and is acting like a maniac. It looked like something from Hollywood. It didn't look real. They did arrest him, and they said he was a Navy veteran. And when he came out of the Navy, that he wasn't the same, according to his friends. He was a friendly guy, friendly in his community. But when he went in the military, I think he got out early, he did not come back the same, they said. And then something triggered him, and he went berserk and started running over people in his car. Now, it was a lot of question. Like, a lot of people thought on over the internet on YouTube that it was CGI, according to them, and they could make things look like a certain thing happening with CGI. So I had forgotten about that incident, the driving incident on Times Square, and then it came to my memory last year over the summer or late spring. I said, "Hey, whatever happened to that guy on Times Square?" I mean, that was a major event because people died. A lot of people got ran over, and some people died. At least one, yeah, one person died, a female. One person died. And so I said, hey, I want to see if that was a real thing. Was there ever a trial? Because if there's a murder, then there's a trial, right? That's my logic. So I said, let me see if there was ever a trial, because it's some time ago. So I Google, or type in man drives car uh, in Times Square and kills somebody. And so I found him. I forget his name. I forget the guy's name. It was a Hispanic fellow, uh, brown skinned fellow, and um, I tried. I think I Googled, whether it was a yeah. Okay, I remember. So I found the guy's name, and I think it said that yeah, there was a trial. In fact, the trial was in progress when I Googled. So I called the courthouse. I said, "Excuse me, is the trial of so and so on still?" He said, "Yes, it is." So I got the address and I ran down there. Um, and I sat in on the trial. And yeah, I saw the dude. He was sitting all the way up front. He had gained a lot of weight. I didn't hear anything said there were witnesses. Yeah, the trial was already in progress for 1 month, I think they said. And they didn't, New York City did not announce the trial. New York City, the state of New York, did not announce that this person was going to be on trial, and this was a major, major incident in Times Square, running over a lot of people, killing one of them. And New York City, as a result of that tragedy, they put up these pillars all around Times Square so no car could get through on the sidewalk and throughout the city, the bike paths too. Yeah, there was an incident that happened with somebody by somebody else on the bike paths in New York City. And so again, they put those pillars so a car cannot fit in on that sidewalk. Okay, it's done throughout New York City, and so a major event, but they don't tell you about it. They don't mention anything on the news, right? Why is that? Maybe they don't want people to know what really went on and have people ask questions. They just dismiss it as, oh, a veteran acting crazy. Okay, that's all you need to know. This guy was normal. This guy was normal. I don't know what the outcome was, but yeah, I sat in on one day because I wanted to see it was real. Because what was being rumored on social media that this event was CGI, that's computer generated image. Okay, that's what CGI stands for. And so I wanted to find out, hey, uh, if no one actually died, then there's no crime, right? And it looked really fake. If you go on YouTube, you'll see it looks fake, people, really fake. He looked like he was acting. It was so stupid. But yes, there was a trial, and I sat in the back seat listening to the evidence on him, and and then I left. Yeah, I did a video of me, uh, either coming from or going to that location. Yeah, I talked briefly about it. Yeah, that was last year. So I don't know what actually happened to him. Um, but again, why I'm bringing up the story is again that it happened in Times Square, and it was just all of a sudden this impulse hits him, and he does what he does with his vehicle. Are they using devices because they have an agenda? These people in question. Is there an agenda? Are they using these devices and could zap somebody who is normal and single them out and have them do behaviors? This is really something. Yes, and again, some things that you hear are not your own voice, as I explained with these technology called the Voice of God technology uses microwave frequencies to emit impulses so you could hear things that aren't being said. You can feel things. You can feel different types of emotions, even, they said. Yeah, type in Voice of God technology. And it is a patented device. It is patented. So you can just go and look on the patented catalog, whatever what it's called, and look it up. And if in the wrong hands. But my question is, you have all like the thing that happened to me at the restaurant. You have all these sinister people out there. You have people doing espionage against their own country. How come these devices aren't with them? You know, taping them and zapping them before they can steal information. You know, people, isn't that, wouldn't that be wise? People who are stealing information from the country, people plotting evil against others to have a device. Why was I listened to? You think what I talked about is all that interesting? You think it's all that interesting, people? I was talking about the what's on YouTube about the secret space program, super soldiers, and O negative blood. And they had a problem with that. Something on YouTube. People, please. It can't sound even, any more stupider. But this happened, people. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. Give me a one that you can hear and understand what I'm saying. This is bizarre. Simply bizarre. And I have a feeling in New York City that this is going to escalate. We have more of those drug places where they can smoke that, that weed stuff. People are doing weird things. People attacking other people. Yeah, this is ridiculous. So, yeah, please pray for the people in New York City. Please pray for us. Please pray for me. Please pray for my friend. Yeah, I announced early in this live stream that um, one of our YouTube family, a person that contacts me on occasion, that a family member passed away, and again, my condolences to this person. Yeah, this is like a type of family because I guess that the dimensions of family are changing. You have, of course, your immediate family, but then there's people now aren't, especially during the pandemic, were not able to visit one another or communicate with friends or family, and so the internet was their new family of reaching out to others. We're hurting. There are a lot of hurting people out there, a lot of scared people out there, a lot of confused people out there. Let us pray for one another. None of us are invincible. And I see that these things that happen to people you hear about on the internet, like the black fellow who's a channeler of spirits, whether the incident that happened to him when he was first 16 years old at the Ivy League school, whether he was actually a what we call a targeted individual. You're hearing more and more people are speaking out. And you hear similar themes. They went to similar type of schools, similar, you know, or military. That's another thing, military. Oh, sorry, my batteries are getting low. Yeah, you hear a lot of weird things. A lot of it. Start putting the pieces together to you and share. Share what you can share to keep us abreast about what's going on so we could maybe try to protect ourselves. I share you this so that maybe you could protect yourselves. Or if your child who's away at school announces, hey, I'm hearing these weird voices, well, you may, if nothing like that ever happened before, maybe they were being targeted. Maybe did they ask your child, hey, were you asked to participate in any survey or any experiment, or study? Find out. Ask them. Believe them when they tell you what they tell you. Believe them. They are going after your children, your intelligent children. They like working on so-called intelligent people with high IQs. As I mentioned earlier in this live stream, what's called the I have to spell out the last name, Bomber. The uni Bomber. He got recruited in his Ivy League university. He was excellent in math, and they used him in an experiment. And then it went rogue, and he became a someone who took away life. Yeah, he's in prison now. I don't know whether he's still alive, but yeah, his family reported him. They remember that person. They shared his manifesto on the internet, on the news, and his family recognized his style of writing, and they went to the authorities and said, "Hey, we think this is someone we know, our family member." I kid you not, people. Just Google it yourself, and how they caught the that particular person. Yeah, he was part of an experiment. Start communicating with your children, especially these Ivy League schools. They try to appeal to their intellect, or oh, you got a high IQ. Oh, yeah, all right. And they use these kids for experiments. Tell them no. If they're approached by someone, oh, you have a high IQ, oh, you're so intelligent, could we use you in a study? Tell your kids to say no, thank you, and walk away, and have them call you immediately if they um, are approached by these people. Yes. If they're in the military, tell your children to tell you the same thing. I mean, to warn you. If they start to all of a sudden experiencing something weird, have them call you immediately and take them home. Yeah, I'm very serious. I'm serious. These people in high places that have no respect for life. And I mentioned earlier in this live stream that we have a black mayor in New York City. And he's not doing anything about the homelessness within the black community, and all the cuckoo guys in the black community acting bizarre. Um, and he's not handling anything regarding the joblessness in this demographics, but is allowing illegals jobs at these construction sites that make a lot of money. And he's this mayor, this black mayor of ours, is announcing that Mother Nature is going to, I mean, Mother Earth, he said, is you don't want Mother Earth to be angry at you, uh, so I want you to all stop eating meat. Could you believe that? Could you believe that? New Yorkers, they like their meat. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. New York City eats a lot of meat. And he's announcing we shouldn't have meat anymore to eat. People, I think you are being set up again. Yeah, be careful what food you eat. Yes, prepare your own foods. You hear about things that they're allegedly putting in food that mimic certain things that were giving in your arm over the pandemic. Did you hear that? They're putting it in meat, and they're putting it in certain plants. I kid you not. Go Google it. Go investigate. Yeah, I'm letting you know. Be careful really what you eat. Be careful what, your thoughts. Are you hearing weird thoughts? Hey, maybe you're being targeted. And no, I don't share this information for you to be paranoid and walk in paranoia, but to inform. These news things are happening very quickly in the media, in societies. And in places like New York City, we have millions of people. And now we have a new shipment. We have a literal um, busloads of people from other countries that are want to get they want to live here, and they're illegals, and they're being processed now. And they were for because I live near the site. This site. At least I have to pass by this site almost every day where they house them, and there were four busloads of children, those school buses, the yellow school buses, to take them somewhere and then to bring them back. This is happening, and yet we don't have enough jobs for local people, residents, legal residences here in New York City. So many jobs, uh, so many companies are no longer in New York City. So many, and a lot of these things affected black people and other types of races. It's affecting everybody in New York City. And then they want to do this and put in someone who's not an asset, who cannot, is a burden on our economic system. No jobs, a lot of children. Did they check them for COVID? Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that word. How come we have to be checked for diseases, but not them? It's really weird, people. Really weird. Yeah. Do your research. Inform your friends and families of things that are happening. Stop believing the things that people are telling you because it's happening. Things happen to me, things happen to other people of color. Things is happening to probably all races here in New York City and in America. It seems to be a social engineering to take over the country and introduce a new world order of what is called the Purple Rain. And that's not RAIN, but REIGN. Yes, some things are happening. But the power is ours. The power always belongs to the people. The power belongs to your family. The power belongs to all who is aware, who wants to become aware and be their best version of themselves. Love yourself, love your family, love your friends, love your pets. Do good and kind things to others and yourself. Be kind to yourself, and we can get through this. We can and we will survive this. Yes, we can survive this. Each one teach one. Let us encourage one another. And yes, when one of us falls, you know, a kind voice, a kind gesture to them to get them on their feet. Yeah, I'm just learning this morning that someone that I know over the YouTube, that a family member close to them passed away, and my condolences. Yes, sorry, my battery's running low. Yeah, yeah, my condolences to you, my friend, my dear friend of the heart. Okay, yes, condolences. Let us reach out to one another who are hurting, who are alone, who just need a friendly voice just to say, "Hey, how you doing? Anything I can do to help?" Yeah, this is a small world now, and it's closer through the internet. You know, each one. Yeah, thank you for giving the thumb up. Yeah, each one teach one, each one. To help bear each other's burden, okay? If not financially, of the heart. The heart is eternal. The heart can uplift any society. We need people with heart. Please, people, please have heart for one another. We're all hurting. And some of us are doing behaviors that we don't ordinarily do, or we think in ways that we ordinarily don't think. But the stressful times, or maybe the things we're eating, or what's being done to our bodies by these technologies are out there and trying to disrupt the natural order of things. Yes, if you have Mother Earth, you also have Father Sky. You have Mother Earth, you have Father Sky. The two have to come together. The two have to be one in harmony. There's no superwoman or superman. There's super couples. There's super entirety. We need to come together to fight this together. That's what I'm saying. Man, woman, boy, girl, please let us be one in heart and help one another. None of us are better than the other. We all need each other to survive. Don't let them try to separate us. Okay? We are number one. All humanity is number one. All the animals and nature are number one. We are special. All of us are special. Okay? Thank you again for listening to this live stream. I know it's a long one. Yes, you could look in the very beginning of the video if you miss the beginning. Yeah, look at it in leisure. I want to go out today. I want to take a nice shower, maybe shampoo my hair. Just try to make myself feel good and go out and enjoy what I can enjoy today if I do decide to go out. Okay? Have a healthy breakfast, okay? Pray over your food and your drink before you eat it and give thanks, okay? Peace, love, joy, and harmony to the listener of this live stream. This is Spirit Journey signing off. Bye bye.